Welcome to the Before 1900s Horror Channel. Tonight, we travel back to the centuries before the 1900s to hear a true horror story. Our story takes place during the Puritan era, between 1691 and 1692, in Salem Village. This is the story of children who claim to see the devil. Stay with us tonight. Let us begin our story. It was a chilling night in December 1691. Salem Village, Massachusetts, was silent. 9-year-old Betty Parris suddenly screamed when she saw an invisible being under her bed. Her eyes were rolled back, her body as hard as stone. Her father, the Reverend Samuel Parris, entered the house and saw a horrific scene. Betty was barking like a dog, cowering in a corner of the room to escape the invisible being. She said a tall black man was asking her to sign a book. Betty was joined by her 11-year-old cousin Abigail. They both tried to hide under the furniture in the house. They claimed that something like flames were biting their bodies. But there was no fire in the house. No one was there. The village doctor came, examined them, but could find no disease. He uttered only one word that stunned all of Salem: bewitched. That is, the devil has his eye on these children. But the question is, did the children really see the devil? Or were they playing a game that would end in the gallows? This mystery begins here, where the boundaries between truth and illusion were erased. In today's episode, we will analyze the testimony of those children, those who claim to have spoken to the devil, and how their finger-pointing took the lives of innocent people one by one. Salem was not a modern town at that time. There was a dense, dark forest all around. The Puritans believed that the devil had spread his empire deep in this forest. Every shadow was a suspicion there. The winter was long and cruel. Food was scarce, and there was fear of attacks by the natives outside. In such an environment, when mental stress was at its peak, this abnormal behavior began to spread among children. Puritan society kept children under strict discipline. They were not allowed to play or laugh out loud. They were representatives of a repressed generation whose only escape was imagination. But when that imagination took the form of hell, the elders became afraid. They began to believe that the devil was trying to destroy their holy society through children. A silent terror spread through the village air. The silence of Reverend Parris's house was suddenly broken by an unusual sound. Betty Parris's body was bending in an inhuman way. A sound came out of her throat that could not have been made by a human. The elders of the village had gathered outside the house. Standing behind the door, they listened to the cries of the children. They were making a plea for escape from some invisible force that shook the faith of the villagers. Abigail Williams suddenly raised her finger to a corner of the house. There was nothing there, but the fear in her eyes was so deep that the elders present were forced to look there. All they saw was frozen darkness. The children began to say that they saw a shadow figure. It was giving orders to people. They claimed that it was at the behest of that figure that they were suffering this terrible suffering. The question arose, on whom will they place this responsibility? The villagers were arguing among themselves. It was as if poison had entered the holy air of Salem. Who would they listen to? A child's imagination or a 1,000-year-old superstition? The night was getting dark. Strange whispers were coming from Betty's room. It was as if someone was secretly speaking to her ear. What was the secret that was making her a servant of the devil? Abigail uttered the first name, Tituba, their housemate. As soon as a name was uttered, the temperature in the room dropped a few degrees. This was a silent signal before the hunt began. Tituba was scared. She had never seen the devil. But when she was questioned, the children looked at her as if she had shaken hands with the devil before their eyes. The village elders surrounded Tituba. The hurricane light trembled all around. Their eyes were filled with suspicion, which could turn to anger at any moment. Tituba did not know how she had gotten into this maze. The children were not only crying now, they were telling stories. The Black Book of Satan, signed by many people. They claimed that the common people of the village worshipped the devil in the dark of night, deep in the forest. The next morning the news spread throughout the village. The children's vision was now determining the fate of Salem. No one was safe anymore. Anyone could be a follower of Satan, your neighbor, your friend. Every window in the village is closed today. People are not speaking out of fear. Lest someone overhears, someone is teaching the children something wrong. But the children are not stopping. Their eyes are now roaming over every person in the village. The court proceedings have begun. The judge is serious. The children are sitting on the wooden bench. Their hair is disheveled. Their eyes are set in their sockets. It is as if they are under the control of some unknown force. The judge asked, "Have you seen the devil?" The children shook their heads. There is no fear in their eyes. There is a cold stillness that even the judge's blood froze. Betty Parris suddenly screamed in the courtroom. Her finger was pointed at an old woman. The whole room was silent. The old woman was trembling. She knew that one finger would be the cause of her death today. The children claimed that the old woman was suffocating them with her invisible hand. Yet the old woman was standing at the other end. How is that possible? The judges believed this was the devil's manipulation. Dust was flying on the courtroom floor. The wind had suddenly picked up. The children were shivering. Are they acting, or are they really seeing something we can't see? The entire village was now outside the courthouse. They were silent. They had only one thought in their minds. Whose name was next? The head of the family, or some helpless widow? Tituba opened her mouth. She was forced to confess what she had not done. She said, yes, she had seen the devil. Because she knew that denying it meant death. Was this lie the last way to survive? Tituba's description of the devil sent chills down the spines of everyone present. The devil supposedly roamed every house in Salem, mingling with the shadows of people. Spectral evidence, a new and terrifying legal weapon. The children claimed that the shadows or spirits of the accused were attacking them. There was no defense to this invisible testimony. A man can be innocent, but what if his soul works for the devil? The judges were stuck in this argument. The law is blind today, and the children are its guide. The village air does not smell of gunpowder, but of burning wood. Is the presence of the devil so deep in the forest? Or is it inside this courthouse, where people are being judged? Abigail is no longer afraid. She is now a source of strength. Every man in the village respects her, out of fear or to save himself. Every blink of her eyes is now the life of a man. The daylight is beginning to fade. Long shadows fall in the corners of the courtroom. The children started that gesture again. They seemed to be fighting someone. With whom? Some claimed that they had seen strange creatures like cats in the courthouse. The Puritans knew that these were companions of the devil. Were the children hinting at those creatures? A villager stood up and tried to protest. He asked if there was any evidence for the children's claims. Immediately, the children all started to cry. The judge sat him down. Protest means doubt. Doubt means the devil's friend. In the courtroom, there was only the sound of children crying and the judge's stony silence. Outside, dogs barked. That call was not ordinary. It seemed as if someone had been signaling some danger for a long time. The residents of Salem would not be able to sleep today. Will we ever know why the children saw the devil? Was there a disease in their eyes, or were their subconscious minds really witnesses to a cursed history? The courtroom floor was no longer just dust, but the size of people. The judges swore that they would uncover the truth at any cost to protect each child, even if it meant blood. Abigail Williams was no longer just a child. She was now the eyes of the judges. When she gestured, people trembled. She knew how much power her every gesture held. The bells of the village church rang. But this is not a bell to call for prayer. This is a warning. A new man will be brought to trial today. The cold wind of death is in the air. The accused is an honorable man. He has never lied in his life. But a gesture from a child has made him a servant of the devil. Can he save himself? Children began to say that they saw black shadows flying in the sky. They claimed that the accused used to enter their dreams. People began to believe that no one had control over dreams anymore. Dense forests and isolated houses. The village had become a cage. People felt trapped from all sides. Whispers were heard in the attics of every house. People began to believe that some evil force was hiding in their homes. They started checking the doors and windows twice. A mother was holding her child. There was fear in her eyes, because her own child was now looking at the group of children. Was she losing her child? A book of the devil was placed on a table in the courtroom, an imaginary symbol. The children were drawing on the book with their fingers. They said that there were still many names to be written there. The judges were tired now. There were bruises under their eyes. Are they also afraid? Or are they also victims of the children's hypnosis? Their every decision is now marked by doubt. The Salem forest is still today. There are no birds calling. The children claim that the devil calls them from the forest at night. After hearing that call, they are no longer human. When you look into the forest, you can no longer see trees, only tall black shapes. People are afraid to go into the forest. Does the darkness of the forest really carry a curse? A child was asked, "Have you seen the devil yourself?" The child did not answer. He only looked into his eyes, in which there is no illusion, there is only emptiness. The water in the village has become cloudy. People began to believe that the devil has poisoned the water stream. They are afraid to drink the water, they pray. A small bird flew in through the court window and died. The children immediately shouted, "It is the devil's messenger." The entire courtroom seemed to be stunned by terror. The judges are now getting tougher on the accused. Are they really judging, or are they writing a death sentence based on a falsehood? An accused woman is saying her last words. She says, "I am innocent." But the children in the courtroom are laughing as if her cry is a joke to them. The sound of laughter is very strange. It is not the laughter of a child. It is the sound of the satisfaction of some evil force. The spectators put their hands to their ears in fear. The night is starting to get dark. The moon in the sky is hidden by clouds. Every light in the village has gone out today. Only the silence, like a crematorium, is all around. Stories of devil worship are now spreading beyond the village and into the city. But no one knows what is happening inside Salem. Can anyone stop this procession of death? Every verdict in the court now depends on the children's hints. A little finger means life or death. Salem is now the center of a terrible power. People are now afraid to talk to each other. What if someone uses the wrong word? What if they are dragged to the judge, thinking that they are a follower of the devil? Seeing the lights of the neighbor's house, the other neighbor wonders, is the devil being worshipped there? Misunderstandings are now turning into violence. People are now their own judges. Parris no longer speaks. She just sits like a stone. But whenever her eyes point at someone, that person's world ends. Blood is flowing on the soil of Salem. But is that blood only human? Or is there some cursed history mixed deep in this soil that we do not know about? The gallows are ready. It stands on the top of the hill in Salem. Every day someone new comes here. But what is the crime? Just the gaze of a child. Everyone is watching. In the crowd, a mother holds her child to her chest. She prays that her child will never meet someone like that. The gallows rope trembles in the wind. An uneasiness, an uncertainty. Is it the end today? Or will this procession of death continue forever? Abigail, sitting in a corner of the courthouse, is laughing. She sees that Salem is on the verge of destruction today because of her every word. Is she herself a toy in the hands of some devil? The sun is setting. The sky over Salem is red. It seems the world is bleeding. Are we ready to see more? Or is the truth beyond our endurance? The crowd is gathering under the gallows. People have forgotten to cry now. Each execution has deadened their conscience. They just watch, indifferent, cold. Parris suddenly stands up. Her eyes are fixed now. She looks out into the courtroom gallery and says, "He's here now." But the people see only empty chairs. The crowd is startled. Do they really not see him, or do they not dare to see him? A gust of wind suddenly blows out the courtroom lights. The sound of someone walking is heard in the darkness. The sound of heavy boots on the old wooden floor of the Puritans. The children claim that the devil is now walking in the house. No one is speaking. Everyone's heartbeat can be heard. An old woman screams, "I didn't do anything." But her screams were caught in her throat. Are the judges afraid of themselves now? The pens in their hands are trembling. Are they afraid of the devil or of this madness, which is writing history with their own hands? Abigail Williams is no longer pointing at the judges. She now considers herself greater than the devil. Her every word is as true as the Bible to the villagers. Outside the village, a small child stands alone at the edge of the forest. Is she talking to the devil? The man standing far away sees it and stands stunned. The air in Salem is heavy today. Fog has gathered at the edge of the forest. From that fog, it seems as if thousands of hands are coming out, those spirits of the children's stories. A man starts running. He is leaving Salem. But will the darkness of the forest let him go? Is there an invisible shadow behind him? There are no new names in the procession of death. Has the devil left? Or is he satisfied after completely destroying the village? There is no answer. The court is closed. The judges are alone in their chambers. Can they still sleep at night? Do they still have the image of those children's cold gazes in their minds? Betty Parris is now older. Does she still remember meeting the devil that dark night? Or was it just a long, cursed dream? Those cursed houses in Salem still stand. No one goes there. People still think that at night they can hear whispers in the wind. History books call it the Witch Trials. But for the Puritans, it was a test of their faith. Did they know the devil, or did they themselves become the devil? The children were lost in the pages of history. Some grew up and lived ordinary lives, but did their shadow remain with them? Can they still hear the voice of the devil today? Can we, today, who live in technology and science, judge them? Are we able to understand the depth of their fear? The sky over Salem is clear today. The moon is visible. But the darkness of that night still lingers in the corners of our minds. Was the devil only in Salem, or does he live inside people? Even today, we are afraid when we see something unknown. Even today, the instinct to point fingers and blame someone remains in us. Is Salem over? Or is it still going on? That child's finger, is it still pointing to an invisible shadow? Maybe we can't see them, but can they see us? Everything is getting quieter. Now the birds are singing again in the Salem forest. But when we look at the old trees, it still seems like they are hiding something. There is no forgiveness, no liberation. Is there no way for those who have left to return? Or are they still buried under this soil? The name of Salem is being erased from people's memories. But the soil of Salem never forgets. Every grain of dust still carries the cries of that night. We did not know who the devil was until the end. We only learned how fear turns people into animals. Wasn't the devil of man's own making more dangerous than children? These days, when you are alone in the darkness of the night, look out the window. Is it really dark there? Or is it something else? The story of Salem is over. But the question remains, did the children really see the devil? Or did they see the primal demonic nature hidden in the human heart? All the lights are out. Only one candle burns, like that old Puritan house. The entire village is covered in silence. Will we be able to go out again today? There is no answer to the unknown. There are only shadows and sighs. The night of Salem never ends. It will remain a cold stream in our minds for a lifetime. We do not know who is true, who is false. But we know that when people are afraid, they can do whatever they want. This story is not only about history, but about each of us. Now there is only silence. Are you alone? Or is someone breathing behind you? Be careful, because the children of Salem may still be pointing their fingers at you.
Thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe for more horror.